Hey y'all, welcome back to Sorare Reg. I'm making some changes as I go, trying to get you more information earlier so that you can get better buys on some of these plays. It's kind of moved that direction naturally, but I think I'm going to start bringing you the next game week's information on the night of the previous game week's lock. So like tonight at 6, when game week 21 locks, I will drop a video for game week 22 immediately. So I have all the updated L10s, I have all the game logs, I have all that information. I've already done research for game week 22. So in order to get you an edge here, to stay ahead of the game, I think the best way to do that is to get the information out as soon as possible. So I will be dropping that for my subscribers at 6 o'clock. I won't put it on the Discord with all the links until probably tomorrow sometime. So give my subscribers a chance to get ahead of the rest of the crowd. Thank you so much for subscribing. It's been awesome growing this thing a little bit. We're going to keep going. I'm going to get you started with some game week 22. All right, let's get right into it. In the 0 to 5 range, I really don't have much this week. We're looking at a couple of flyers here. Davion Mitchell's been getting 13, 14 minutes a night the last 4 games, so he's back in the rotation. L10 at just 5. I would say his high end is probably somewhere in that 15 to 20 range. Troy Brown's really getting under 10 minutes right now the last couple of games. I would recommend him, but I don't think he's getting enough time right now to do anything for you. And then Trent Forrest is kind of interesting. He's going to be a 5. He played 14 minutes in their last game. They've been kind of searching for a wing since DeAndre Hunter went down back on December 20th. They tried Wes Matthews. He's shooting 26% from the field. AJ Griffin's away from the team. Personal issues. Garrison Matthews is already playing. So I think maybe this is just Forrest's shot to get a couple games, see what he can do. We'll see what happens this weekend with him. At 6, I would say Bull is interesting, but I'd temper your expectations. I think his play time may be directly correlated to Kevin Durant being out the last 2 games. Before that, he really hadn't played much at all. 19 and 20 minutes, and he's looked pretty good. He always looks pretty good when he's out there, though, because he's 7'2" and can handle the ball, and that's pretty rare. But they never seem to give him much run, so if Durant's out for a couple more games, you may get another stretch where you can use Bull. He's 6 going into game week 21. He's also going to be a 6 going into game week 22. 1 game this weekend. It's at LA, so a tough defense. Jordan Hawkins is interesting. Probably not for this week because he doesn't have the minutes. With New Orleans completely healthy, Hawkins really only plays in a blowout. I would say he's a great stash because he's an aggressive player. He's all the way down to 7. If anybody goes out, if McCollum misses time, if Alvarado misses time, if Dyson Daniels misses time, I think he's back in the lineup and he's probably capable of having you a big game. Good variance on him. Lachlan jumps from a 4 to an 8 heading into game week 22. But if his minutes stay up in that 15 to 20 range this weekend, I think you can look at him as a great play for game week 22. Chris Duarte was starting in Sacramento. Then last game he started but only played 10 minutes. I don't know how much you can trust that. He's an 8 this week. His price is already up. Keita Bates-Diop, this may be another one that's tied into Durant being out, but more minutes for him the last 2 nights. Not super productive, but at 9, doesn't take a whole lot to beat that if he's playing. Marcus Sasser, so Alec Burks is a game time decision for Friday. Sasser's a guy I've been talking about that I really like. I love the rookies when they get down to about 10. This guy's a good shooter. Got everything going for him. He's definitely on the radar for next week. We'll see what happens with Burks tonight and whether Sasser gets in. Covington in Philadelphia has just fallen really low. I think he went from like 14 last week down to 10, so one to watch for sure. Hasn't been playing a lot. He's been injured. But he's certainly still a capable player. He's played 26 games for Philly, 16 minutes a night. He can beat that 10 pretty easily on a good night. Dyson Daniels kind of interesting at 12 for next week. We're looking at some game logs from him. He had a nice run early in the year where he was in the 30s a lot when people were banged up. There's some adjustment when everybody came back, but now at pretty much full health other than Trey Murphy the last couple games. He had a 25 and a 19, so 12's not out of the question bad for him. Stayed in that 20-minute range most of the season, so I think you can expect something here. Chris Boucher's minutes in Toronto really haven't moved since the trade. I was a little surprised he hasn't increased. May still happen. I'd like to see it. I think he's probably a better player than RJ Barrett. 12 for an L10, still fairly low for him. He's a productive guy. I would expect some decent games out of him going forward. Najee Marshall's all the way down to 13. I talk about him a lot. He just has a nice role with New Orleans. He's always in that 17 or so minute range. Doesn't matter who's playing. Down a little bit off his season average, but 13 is just too low. This guy can put you up 30 on a good night. Daniel Tice is a 13 in LA. He has a regular role with the Clippers, right around his season average at 13 minutes. Variance isn't real high on him, so not a whole lot of upside, but somebody to consider. Kevin Huerter in Sacramento lost his starting spot to Chris Duarte, and then last night took back some of the minutes. He was up to 18 again. He's just a guy, he can catch fire. He's a good shooter. 0.91 a minute's not bad. 12.6 variance is really good, so his upside is there. 14. Just needs to get back in the regular rotation, and that's probably going to happen at some point. Tillman's down to 14. I've been talking about Tillman a lot. I think his minutes are on the rise. He played 23 last game after a 0 the game before, so inconsistent, but the minutes are going to be there for this guy. I think he's too good to keep out of the rotation. 14, just too low. Variance of 12. There's a guy I'm targeting for sure. And at 15, we've got Reggie Jackson. He's down as low as he's been in a long time with 10. I think he's actually getting lower. Killian Hayes down to 15, and I believe he's going down as well. I would be looking at either of these guys. Hayes, maybe in the near term if Burks is hurt. Do they just need another guard? Jackson still has his role as a backup, but his minutes are down too with everybody healthy in Denver. Herb Jones' shooting has started to come around a little bit, and he's timing it perfectly with his L10 down in that, I think it was 16 this week, 17 next week. So well below his season average. Variance is 12. Great guy to have going forward here for the next couple weeks, I would think. Minutes are safe. Price went from about $4 to $8, so I guess I should have picked him up for $4. Mo Wagner is the brother of Franz Wagner. Franz suffered an ankle sprain last night. He's going to be out today, maybe more going forward. We don't really know the severity yet. If he is out for longer, Mo's minutes probably go up a little bit. 0.98 a minute, pretty decent. He can certainly beat a 17. Isaiah Jackson, I think I may have been ranking the backup centers in Indiana wrong the whole time. I had Jalen Smith as like a favorite over Isaiah Jackson. Jackson may be the better player. He's certainly more productive. 1.29 points a minute is really good. 18 L10. They're all getting in that 18 to 20 range. Turner's getting 35, and then the backups 18 to 20 each. Any big playing with Halliburton's going to be eating. I think he's a decent play for this week. Sarge had a nice game yesterday. He's going to have those 18 and dipping for his L10. They need this guy. He's a decent player. Not a ton of variance for him either, but he's in there. Santi Aldama, I think, is really low. When the Memphis Grizzlies need some extra scoring from a third or fourth option, he's a guy that can knock down shots. He can put you up some points. Point a minute, 11.6 standard deviation is very good, so his high end is pretty high. Naz Reid at 19 as well. Just a low number for him. Variance is pretty good. He's a guy that just either is hot from three or he's not. Jalen Smith, we talked about Indiana. He's looked good in his return from injury. Also down to 19. He can beat that. He's pretty consistent, though. He always stays right in that 15 to 25 point range. TJ McConnell took over for Nemhard when he got hurt. We're going to see if Nemhard's out this weekend. If he is, I think McConnell's in there. I think he can beat a 20 pretty easily. 1.22 points a minute, really productive, and an 11 standard deviation means he does go quite a bit higher than that on occasion. Lonnie Walker, the fourth, coming off of injury today. Going to be his first game back after missing 17 games. His L10 sitting at 21. If we look at his game logs, he's got a 40 that's going to be coming off the books after today's game. He's going to have a minutes restriction today, so he's probably not going to put up a lot of points. So I would say his L10... obviously for next week that we're doing right now is 21. But once that 40 comes off, you're probably looking at like 17. And I think he can beat that pretty easily. D'Angelo Russell's been out injured for the Lakers. He's just gotten so low now. It's 22 for an L10. He's beating his season average by almost 8 points. Standard deviation is big with him. He gets hot or he's terrible. Assuming he can get back on the floor, I think he's a good pick. Cam Thomas, he's all the way down to 22. Huge variance of 15, so this is a guy that just, when it's going in, and he just keeps shooting. That's a great guy to have, but he's headed the wrong direction right now. Goga in Orlando with Franz out. I think his minutes are still safe in that 20 range. He's beating his L10 slightly. Certainly capable of bigger games, though, with a 1.08 and a 10 standard deviation. Draymond should be back within the next week or two. He's sitting at 23, 0.98 points a minute. I think his minutes go up from the 25. Hopefully he's back and he's focused and he's playing well. He can put you up 40 real easily. Cole Anthony, 24 L10 with Franz out. I think some of the usage in Orlando goes to him. I think his minutes go up from 25. I think he can outscore that 24 real easily. 11.6 standard deviation means he will hit for some big games here and there. In the 26 to 30 range, we're going all the way up to 28 to start out. Mikal Bridges is just too good to be this low. He's going to have a big game. It's just going to happen. Michael Porter Jr., 28, seems a little low on him. He's capable of a big game as well. Now, Walker Kessler in Utah, another guy that can just block a lot of shots sometimes. Good variance for him, too. Brogdon's been amazing. 29's way too low on Brogdon. 14.6 variance, so he's getting into the 40s and 50s pretty regularly. Gobert has had a great year. He's through a little bit of a lull right now. The Wolves are finally hitting some difficult times. 11.2 is enough to interest me in him. Brook Lopez, same thing. Mark Williams has been out for quite a while. He should be back soon. When he does get back, 30s right around his season average. Variance of 12. I would say he's worth a look. Jeremy Grant in Portland, a little bit above his L10 right now. Good variance for him as well. And then Jordan Clarkson, the ultimate big variance guy, 15, L10 of 30. He's actually outpacing his season average a little bit right now, but he's playing so well, I think he's worth a look. North of 30 guys, we'll just run through these. My picks would be Jaren Jackson, Miles Turner, Jalen Duren in Detroit, Cat in Minnesota. Kuzma's always under $10. He's at 35 right now. I think he's got a chance to have some big games for you. Hero at 37, McCollum at 37. Both have dipped a little bit. Bane at 38, I think everybody thought, well, once Ja gets back, he's going to go back to being like a 30, but he's had some great games with Ja, so keep an eye on him. Bam at 39, Irving at 39, both in play for me. Jokic and Halliburton, obviously you could play anytime, but right now it's just a great time to play Jokic. He's way below his season average. Same with Halliburton. He's a little bit below his season average, and both those guys have huge variance for superstars. Those are the ones you want. All right, game week 22 prep in the books. Hope it helps you. Remember, this is an exclusive for my subscribers, so if you want to get these in your inbox when they drop, just subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and good luck in game week 22.